Welcome to week 6 of NPTEL session on C programming, and this week today we will be going to cover more about for loops and also on arrays. So we are using loops, while conditions, what we have already learned, and on top of that we will be using all these for specifically with the using arrays. So arrays are nothing but a group of same quantities. It can be integers or decimals or characters. Specifically, a group of characters is nothing but a string. So today in this session, we are going to cover all of these, like different kinds of arrays, and then we'll be using loops and while loops and for loops and also conditions, different kinds of to deal with different array data structures. So array is like a special kind of data structure, if you wish, in a programming language, and this is quite powerful because it gives you a way to create lots of data of same type. So it's not, so if you think about it about arrays, it's nothing but a collection of data. Okay, so without further ado, I'll get started, but I'll wait for 1 or 2 minutes for people to join in, and then we will start with the MCQs, and after the MCQs, we will start with a little bit of some of the programming assignments from last year's. So let me wait for like 1 or 2 minutes for people to join in and settle down, and then we will start with today's session. Okay, so let me share my screen, and then I'm going to go to previous year session. I just want to ensure that every one of you can see the screen. Just let me know. Okay. Sure. Okay, so I think the first question is already what I have already answered just a while ago, that what is an array in C? And the array in C is nothing but a collection of data types or data of the same type. So it's similar data elements of the same type. So you have the correct answer is option A. Then the next is what is the index of the first element in an array? So in C, the count of elements starts from 0. So the right answer is 0. So this is contrasted, can be contrasted with other programming languages. For example, you can have something like Fortran, where the indexing starts from 1. But in this specific case, the indexing starts from 0. So that's some typicality about C. Okay. And after this, let's go to the next thing. So, which loop is commonly used to iterate through all the elements in an array? So as you already know that it is the for loop that we use, as I was saying in the introductory talk of today's session only, that we will be using different kinds of loops, and one of the most popular and commonly used loop is the for loop, which allows you to go through every element in an array. So that is the right answer. So this is the for loop. Okay, so now let's go to the next one, which is an integer array with 15 elements is declared in a C program, and the memory location of the first byte of the array is 2000, right? So what will be the location of the 13th element of the array? Assumes that each integer takes 2 bytes of memory, right? So let me turn this on. Okay, I see there are no questions in here. So let me then go back. Okay, so let's see. An integer of 15 elements is declared in a C program. So if you have an integer of 15 elements and these take 2 bytes of memory, then you total have assigned 30 bytes of memory because it's 15 elements and 2 bytes, so you have 30 bytes, right? And the first memory location of the first byte is 2000. So you start from 2000, right? This is just a random number just for the sake of this question. And then what will be the location of the 13th element? So when you start with the 13th element, you already have 12 elements which has already been assigned. So then you will have, and therefore you will have 12 elements, and after 12 elements, your 13th element starts. So then you already have consumed 12 size in the memory, which is worth 12 integers. So that would mean that each integer is 2 bytes, then it is 24 bytes. So you start from 2000, and then you have 24. So then you have like 12 elements, so it starts from 13. So you have 12 elements, right? And therefore you have 24 bytes, right? And this means that you will have 12 times 2, which is 24. So you have 2024 bytes of memory. And I think someone has joined in. Okay. So then, as I was saying, that you have the 24 bytes of memory in here. So if any of you have any questions right now, then please feel free to ask, and I'll be happy to answer those questions. Otherwise, I'll just move on to the next question. I am now discussing question 4, so I'll move on to question 5 now. Okay, I don't see any questions on chat. So let me then move on to question number 5, which says that how can you find the sum of all the elements in a 1D array with 5 elements using a loop in C? So you see here, there are the different options given. So let's see the first option, which is what it does. It's you have a loop of 5 elements. So you have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So all the elements are getting added in the first option, while in the second option, the 5th element. So when you have a group of 5 elements, then ARR5 is an invalid entry. So it doesn't point to anything, because if you have 5 elements, your array starts from 0 and goes till 4, right? So then ARR5, which is option B, is not right, right? And then let's look at the second thing, which says that int I equals to 0, I less than or equals to 5, I plus plus, sum plus equals to this. So what happens in here is again the same problem, that you go till 5. So then this will mean that I runs from 0, 1, 2 and goes till 5, with 5 being included. But then that would mean that you have one extra element, which is ARR5, which is not part of the array itself. So it's it will, this program is either going to give you a nonsense value, or it is going to give just stop with the segmentation fault, depending upon what kind of memory the array is assigned to. And then this is like an illegal entry, in a sense that it goes beyond the length of your array. So your array is elements like a 5-element array, then ARR5 is the 6th element, which is not there, right? So this is the problem with C. So the right answer is D, where you have added all the sums together. So you start from 0 and you go till 5, right? So you will have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So then that would mean that you are till 5 elements, because 5 will be actually, ARR5 actually refers to the 6th element. So you will not include 5. So you start from 0 and go till 5, but 5 is not, should not be included. So it's actually 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the right answer is option D, right? And option A is also okay, but you will not, you are not using for loops. So it's kind of a hard-coded way to do it. And so the right answer here in this specific case is option D. Okay. So now let's go to the next one, where you have been asked. So you see that there is an array which has been defined, which has elements 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you have these 5 elements in the array. You start from 0, and it says that while I is less than 5, you print ARRI, and then I gets updated by a value of 2 more. So what this means is that you start from 0, and then you update your value by 2 more, and then you again print it, then again you update your value by 2 more and you print it. So you interleave. So the right answer is you start from 1 and then you update by 2 elements. So you are at 3, and then you again update by 2 elements, then you are at 5. So you're 1, 3, 5. So option A is the right answer because you are stepping by 2 elements, like every other element. So you show the first element, you step over the next element, and then show the next one, and then again step over the next, and then show the next one. So you print every other element in here, right? So the 1, 3, 5 is the right answer in this specific case. Okay, so now this is another problem where you see that there is a code snippet which is given, and you have the question is what is the value of the different quantities that you see in here. So you have I, J, and K, and you see there is something like the array which has been shown in here. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let me write the array, and then I'll share the screen where I'm writing it down so that you can understand exactly what's going on and you can predict what's happening. So let's write it down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right, and then let me write down the steps. J equals to plus plus ARR2, and then K equals to ARR1 plus plus, and I equals to ARR J plus plus, right? So what I'm going to do is evaluate each of these and show you what's actually happening. So let me share my clipboard, and here you can see I have written it. This was what I was writing it down. So you have I, J, K, 3 elements, and you have to assign, you have to guess after these 3 steps what are the values of I, J, and K, right? So let's see. Let's start with the first statement, which is this one. So what is happening is ARR2. So let's see what is ARR2 in here. So if you look at it, it's 0, 1, and 2. So ARR2 is 3 actually. So ARR3, 2 is 3. And what is now J is getting assigned to? J is getting assigned to this plus 1 because you have a plus plus, and the plus plus comes before, like it's a prefix. So it gets added and then assigned to J. So what you have in here is 4. So J becomes 4 in here. Now let's go to the next step where you see K, ARR1. So now again 0 and 1. So this is ARR1, which is 2. So let's write it ARR1, which is 2, right? And then ARR1 plus plus. Now you see the plus plus is postfix. So first ARR1 is assigned to K, and then it is increased by a value of 1, which is not reflected, right? So then what will happen in here is that K will get a value of 2, right? And then it will be, it gets just 1 added to ARR1, which is not something which you see in here, right? So ARR1 then gets changed to basically 3. So after this, ARR1 gets changed to 3, right? And here, for example, I have forgotten to change this. In the previous one, you have an ARR2, which is assigned as 4, and then it got changed to also 4, right? And now we come to the last statement where ARRJ plus plus. So let's, before doing this, let's write what are the new values of ARR. So this ARR got changed to, you see 0 remains the same. So it's 1, and ARR1 is 3, right? ARR2 is 4, and then the rest are just the same, 4, 5, and 6. So this is the new array in here, and now let's go and see what is happening in here. So ARRJ plus plus, right? So the one which is in here would mean that, so let's see what's the value of J. So what this would mean is that the ARRJ is what is going to get, sorry for this. So what this means is that ARRJ is the value which is going to get assigned to I, and then after that, J will be updated by a value of 1. I mean, increased by a value of 1, right? So what would that mean is that we already know the value of J is 4. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is the 4th element, right? Which you can see in here. So we will do that. The value of I is then let's see what's the value of 4th element is. ARR4 is nothing but 5. So the value of I is 5. And now J getting updated by 1. So the value of J is now will change to because see, previously j was 4, as you can see in here, j was changed from 4 plus 1, so j will change to 5. So at the end of all these, you see I stands with a value of 5, j also stands with a value of 5, and k stands with a value of 2. So 552 is the right answer that you can see in here. I think the way I'm writing I is a bad handwriting, so I'll just change this to I. Yes. So the 552 is the right answer, and I hope this is clear to you, and then we can proceed on to the next question. Okay. So I think then I can proceed to the next one, where you see the right answer is 552 IJK. So that's what we discussed right now. So the next question is, what will be the output of the following output after the execution of the program? So you see int I, A4. I mean, uh, so there is I, and then there is a integer which has 4 elements, 3, 2, 1, 4, and then there's result. So you start with a equals to 0. So result, the value of result is starts with 3, and then you start from 1 and go till less than 4. So it's 0, 1. So it's 1, 2, 3. 0 is not included because you start from 1. So a 0 and then 1, 2, 3. Right. So what it does is then it goes to the next element. So you see the result. So initially the value of result is 3, and AI is 1. So 3 is greater than 1. So continue. So it moves back. Again comes to the for loop, right? And then the value of I is then 2. Then result is actually 3. So 3 is greater than 0, 1, 2. So 2, 3 is greater than 2. So this is also true. Then again you go continue, and then you again come to the for loop, and you come to the last element, which is 3. And then you see that the result value of result is a0 still. So the value of 3. So now 3 is greater than 4, because now it's a3, the value of a3 is 4. So this is false. So you do not go to the continue statement. You come here, and then result equals to AI. So what this AI then means is that the last element right now. So the result is changed from what was before, which is a0, now changed to a3, which is now that's the value of 4. So at the end, you have the value of 4, and hence this is the answer. So if you wish, I have shown you previously how you can step through the code. You can write this code down and step line by line on VS Code, and then you can see how the variables are changing. And the right answer is 4, and I hope I have been able to kind of explain why this is so. Okay, so now this is a switch case statement, and this is quite tricky in a sense that there is a small trick in this, that there are no break statement after case 2. So you see you have a switch case, switch n, and there is a case 2 and case 3, but between case 2 and case 3, you should have a break. And if you do not have a break, then what happens with switch statement is that as soon as there is something which matches, it doesn't come out just after the match from the switch loop, and then all the other cases also get executed. And this is a problem, and it is almost always customary to have break statement after every switch, after every case in a switch break, in a switch case thing. So because the break statement is missing, and we have n equals to 2, both case 2 and case 3 both will be evaluated. So you start with a sum of 5. So 5 minus 3, 5 minus 3 is 2. So 2 gets assigned to sum in case 2, but then you come to case 3 where sum is multiplied by 4. So the value of sum previously was 2. So 4 times 2 is 8. So the sum gets reassigned the value of 8 in case 3. And then there is a break statement. So it comes out, and then what you have the print is you have a value which will be printed here is 8. So the right answer is 8. Remember that if you also do not have the break statement in here, then the switch case will come to default, and then sum will be reassigned the value of 0. So when you print that at that point of time, you will get a value of 0. But here, since the break statement is after the case 3, so both case 2 and case 3 gets evaluated, and what you have is 8. And why you get 8 is what I had been explaining all this while. Okay, so we are now at the last MCQ question, where you can see that it asks for the output of the following C code. Here you see you have an array A, in int A, and then array which is of 5 integers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what this does is array 1 is then assigned the value of array 1 with 1 being added to it. So array 1 you can see is 0. So you remember in C everything starts with 0. So it's the second element, array 1. So it's value of 2. So what then happens is this value of 2 gets updated to 3 and gets assigned to this array 1. So then what this means is that you have a new array ARR5, which is 1, 3, 3, 4, 5, because this the second element, which is ARR1, gets updated by a value of, but gets increased by a value of 1, and then ARR1 gets again increased by a value of 1 more, but before the increase, it's been assigned to A, so A is being assigned the value of 3, right? Because 2 got already increased to 3, and then ARR1 is again increased by a value of by 1 more. So now you have 1, 4, 3, 4, 5, right? So you have a 1, 4, 3, 4, 5. Let me write that down. 1, 4, 3, 4, 5 is the new state, and the value of A is what has been before. So the thing that has been before is 3, right? So the A value of A is 3. And then later on, ARR1 is now assigned ARR A++. So since you know that the value of A is 3, and then this is again postfix, right? So the 0, 1, 2, 3, so you have 4. So ARR1 gets then assigned the value of 4, right? So ARR1 is then gets assigned the value of 4, and then A increases by 1 more. So A increases by from 4 to 4, right? So then what happens at the end of all of these is that A, which was 3, has now got increased by 1 more. So A got the value of 4, but before A was increased, the value of A was 3. So ARR1 gets assigned the value of ARR3, right? So now you have ARR1 equals to ARR3, and 0, 1, 2, 3. So the value at ARR3 is 4. So ARR1 now gets assigned the value of ARR4, which is 4, and ARR3, which is 4, and ARR4 and A gets updated from 3 to 4 after that assignment. So A also gets the value of 4. So 4, 4 is the right answer, and hence you have the answer C in here. Again, I would encourage you to please go and write this code up and see in by stepping through each of the line in the debugger on VS Code that how these variables are changing. But I guess I had been able to give you a clear and fairly clear idea of what are the steps that is getting involved when I've been showing you all the other questions. Okay, so at this point, this is the end of the MCQs. I'll stop for a minute or so and ask. Okay, so someone had asked, and why is it required? I don't. Get it. I mean, can you tell me with respect to which question you were asking this? And hash include lib. So this is basically including a library. stdio is includes the stdio library. This was covered in the very first week of C programming, and I would ask you to then go back to the lectures, both the NPTEL lectures and as well as the video lectures on YouTube, which I have, to check what this exactly means. But hash include is basically a way in which you tell the C code to include some of the libraries which we are using. Especially we are using the standard IO libraries, so stdio.h. So these are also called header files. Okay. Okay, no problem. Just let me know if you remember, and then I'll be happy to talk. So then let's go back and cover a little bit of the programming assignments. I'll be covering some of the programming assignments, and hopefully this will be also a nice thing. So then so for the programming assignment, what I'll do is I'll open 2 of the tabs, which makes it easy to go write the code and also go through the thing while writing the code. So let me have this way, and let's see what the code is. So write a C program to find the largest of an integer array. Here the number of elements n and the number of elements is red, and then test the data, right? So let's see. What we want to do is then let's have a new print. So I already have a hello world code. So let enter array length, right? So I'll take the length from the user, and I mean intn. I'll do a scanf, and I'll take the length of the array from the user, right? And then what I'll do is I'll also create an integer array, which I will call it like int ARR, and I will make it 100 just to have some number which is very large. For now, I am not having the length of the array, which is dynamically assigned, because that will require you to know something called malloc, which is used for assigning arrays on the heap dynamically of different sizes while the code is running. During runtime, the size of the array is determined. I'm not going to do that, and so let's not go into that complication, right? So for now, you know that the size, the largest array which this program can deal with is 100, just for the sake of it, right? So let's take the we will now do an integer n, and then we can also have an I, right? So this will be my loop, right? So now I'm going to loop through. So let's give a print f, enter array elements. So I'm now going to enter the array elements, and now I'm going to do a for loop. So what this is doing is that going through I, for which starts from 0, goes till n, and just takes in all the numbers from the user, right? And now we will find the largest of these. So int largest is equals to, we will start with ARR 0. So this is just for the sake of it, I'm assuming that the 0th element is the largest element, but this is now going to change, right? So now I do a for loop, right? So what this is doing right now is that I'm going through a for loop which starts from 1. I go till I less than n, so I go to all the elements and go through all the elements, and then I see that if ARR I is larger than the largest, so largest is by default initialized ARR 0, then that is the one which is largest right now, right? So now once I've looped through it, I just printed that the largest element is this thing in the array, right? So once this is done, let me now run the code. So let me do this. Let's see. I think this is something, yes. And here, so we are going to run the C++ file. So I choose my compiler, okay. So this is now running. So enter array length. So let's have one of the examples from NPTEL which is taken. So let me also once again move this to the left so that I can see. So it's 4. So let me enter every element, 4. So now I have minus 400. And then I have minus 800. I have minus 700, minus 50. The largest element is minus 50. So I have four elements, and the largest is minus 50, right? So I think the better way to do this is just give us /n in here so that all are in the same line, and then just do this. Let's try the other example once again. So let's run this. Okay, so I have a 7 elements array, and then let's enter every element: 60, 70, 200, 12, 40, 30, 20. So the largest element is, sorry, I just missed it. But anyways, you get the idea: 60, 70, 200, 12, 40, and then I just copied the last two in here. Sorry about that, but you get the idea that this is out of all these, the largest element of all the numbers that I've entered in here. You just look at this. I've entered 7 elements, and the largest number is 200 that you see. So that kind of wraps this code. So next, let's go to the next one. Before that, let me see if there are any questions. No, I don't see any questions on chat. So let me then move on to the next one. So write a program, C program, to print the elements in a reverse order, and not sorted order, but just the last element will become the first element, and vice versa. The second last will become the second, and so on. That is, printing of the array is also written. So let's just see. So you start with this, and you just print the elements in the reverse order, right? So let's then get enter array elements. So up till this, everything is fine. So I'll not delete any part of the code in here, but here I'll delete. I'll start. So for n, so I'll just do it in the reverse order, right? To print the elements in reverse order, right? So I'll start from I equals, so you start from n, right? And actually start from n minus 1, because that is how the C in C code starts, and you just print all of these, right? So this is how things are going to get printed. So ARR I, so you start from n minus 1 and you just go till the last one, right? So here you see 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and then it will start from the other side. So you have 50, 40, something like that. So let's run this code. This is a fairly simple one. So let's run it. Okay, so enter array element. So you have 5 elements. So let me do 5 and then enter the elements 10, 20, 30, what? Sorry. Let me stop this. Run this once again. Sorry, I've just mistyped and pressed an enter, so I have to do this again. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So you have, you see what I'm now printing is in the reverse order 50, 40, 30, 20, 10. So 50, 40, 30, 20, 10. I can also give a new line, so then it gets printed in a new line, but you get the idea basically. So let me not do that, but just for showing you the idea. And let's try one more example, which we have, and then we will go on to the next code. Okay, so here you start with, say, this one, 4 elements. You have 20, 45, 65, 35, and 25. So you have now 25, 35, 65, 45. So that's all this is happening, right? So this is how things are getting done in here. So now let's move on to the next one, which is assignment 3, which is write a C program to read 2-dimensional arrays of the same data type and merge them two one-dimensional arrays of the same data type and merge them together into another one-dimensional array. So what now we will do is we will now take 2 array. So we will take array 1 length, right? And then we will take, so I'll do an ARR 1, and then I'll also have an ARR 2, right? Which is also of the same size as 100, right? So now I'll do something like an N1 and an N2. So I have now 2 arrays, right? And then what I'll do is I'll start from 0, I less than n, I plus plus. So I'll take enter array 1 elements. So I'll just take the array 1. So this will be ARR 1. And similarly, I'll take array 2 elements as well. ARR 2, and then this is going to run till N1, and this is going to run till N2. And now this will be N1. First I take this, and I do this. I don't need this in here. Just for the keep things clean, I will just put this in here. Don't need this, right? So I just take the length of array 1 and length of array 2, and I call this N2, right? And then ARR 1, and then okay, let's see if someone has any questions. Why did you take? Okay. So the reason I did that is you see either you, because it's in C the code thing starts from 0. So if thing starts from 0, then if your array is of size 5, then the last element has an index of 4 because it's 5 minus 1. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. You have 5 elements, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. But the last element index is 4. So I want to go till the last index. So that's why I have an I minus 1. Sorry, n minus 1, which is what I want to start with. So I want to start with the last element, right? So if an array is of 5, then the last element, the index of the last element is 4. So that's why I have an I equals to n minus 1. So that is where I want to start with. Does that answer your question, Shubham? Okay, let me know if there is. Yes, yes, please ask your doubt. Okay. Okay, then you can put it on the chat. I'll check after a while. Okay. How do I code such that I can pass the private test cases properly? I don't understand what you mean. What do you mean by private test cases? I don't understand what you say. Can you explain? Okay, so I think these are the questions which the new assignment also has questions which is very similar to what are the ones which I'm discussing. So if you make sure you understand all these questions, and then this will be enough for you to answer the questions in tests and also on the assignments of the new uh, questions which are being asked. So these will be that will be of the similar type as ones I'm discussing right now. Okay. Okay. So let's see. Let me take the two elements. So I have taken like first taken the length of the two elements, and once I've taken the length, I have now iterated over the two elements. Like you see, I got start from I equals to 0 and 1, and this is array 1, and then I take n2, and then I take all the elements of array 2. And once this is done, I'll start from I equals to 0 and I less than n1 I plus plus. And then what I'll do is I'll have an ARR3, which is the next one, which is ARR3, which obviously will be larger. So let's take a value of 200 just to be safe, right? And then what I'll do is I'll just do an ARR. So I'll start from I, right? And I will go from N1 plus N2. So I'll just do a bracket in here because I want this to get evaluated before, and then I'll get things to be reassigned. So what I'll do in here is that if I is less than n1, then I'll use if I is less than n1, then what I'll do is I'll this in bracket, right? If I is less than n1, then what I'll do is I'll put ARR3 I to ARR1I. So the first part, and then ARRI minus n1 will go to the next part, right? And then after all this, I'll just do a for loop and just print the elements of ARR3, right? Now what this is going to do is going to print the elements of ARR3. Let me save this and run the code. Oops. Let me try to run this. Something is happening. Let me figure this out. Yes. Run file. Not this one, but this one. Run file. Yes. Yes. So let's now try to put in the values. So the first one is 3 and 3. So you have 3 elements of each. So let's start with this. ARR1 is 3. Then ARR2 is also, I'm putting in 3 more elements in here. And then let's do this. I'll have a 15, 45, and 25. And then ARR 2 elements, which is 60, 70, 80. So let's put in 60, then 70, then 80, right? And then you have a problem. Let's see what's happening in here. Let's see. So I is now I minus N1. So if ARR 2, right? So this is the second array. So this is, I took the elements of, so let me then, since there is an error which is coming in here, let me just think about what's happening. So I starts from 0. So it's I goes from N1 plus N2, so I plus plus, so it's I less than N1. So you have I. So for the first time, you want to take in the values of ARR1. So that's why ARR3I, which is the first element, which is 0, is going to have ARR1, 0. So the first part is going to go like this. And then okay, so then you have a 60, 15, and then 40. Then why is it 0 in this next one? Let me check. Am I taking in the values properly? So I have N1 and N2. So ARR1 goes from N1, ARR I equals to 0, ARR2 takes in the values of N2, and then I equals to 0, N1 plus N2, I plus plus. Okay. Let's me run this code once again. So let's try a smaller one. 4 and 5, then 6 and 7, and am I not printing things properly? So let's come back to this later, and let me go to the next question, and I'll come back to this later to check what's the problem. Okay. So now what this code does is it asks for take a value of integers, and now you want to just get rid of the duplicate elements. So this is the last question for today. So we are now going to just get rid of the duplicate elements. So let's do that, and then we will come back to this if there is some time. So, okay. Why do we count the position of the array starts from? So this is like the convention in C that you always start from an array which index starts from 0. So this is the convention in C that whenever you have an array, the index of the first element is 0. So that's the convention. In C, for example, and if you look about other programming languages, for example, Fortran, it starts with 1, but it is how C is, that you start with 0. Okay. So please explain the third loop where we assign. So that we will come to. Okay. So let's see. Let me just do print. Enter the number of elements. So now we'll take in the number of elements. Once we have done, we'll enter the elements, right? So now we are going to just take the elements in the array, and then we are going to run a loop for I equals. So let me back some point. Yes. Right. Okay. So for I equals to 0, right? And so the way this would work is that we want to go from one of the elements, and whenever we see there is a repeating thing, then we are going to get rid of that by just swapping the arrays, right? So let's do that. Now what I'll do in here is that I start from I equals to 1. So I start from I equals to 0, and whenever I see that this is not something which we need. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to compare whether the two elements are equal or not, right? So I start from the 0th element and I compare whether the two elements are equal or not, right? And let's see. So the duplicate, so we will just find if they are equal, then that would mean that we have a duplicate element, right? So, and let's first also take the size. So we know that the size is n, and whenever we have found a duplicate element, then what will happen is that the size has to decrease. So I'll do is n equals to n minus 1. So this means that the size of the element has decreased. And now what I'll do is I'll do a for loop. Like this is a new for loop where I have, but before starting all of these loops, I also have to create the integers. So let's int I, j, and k, right? And let's go to that duplicate thing, right? So for k, k should start from this value, which is j, right? And then k must go till less than n, and ARR k is ARR k plus 1. So what this would mean is that I am just shifting the elements one at a time. So then this is now going to change the value of the duplicate loops, right? And then if there is any duplicate, then that gets just deleted from the arrays because my array size has decreased and I'm just moving everything back, right? And once this k loop ends in here, let's see if I've ended the loops properly. So this is k, this is j, and let's see. So I think the loops are not properly ended. So here is where the k loops end. Here is the if condition. So okay. So, let me close the if block. So here the if condition closes in here, then this condition close for j and then close for I, right? And let's now see. Okay, so let's enter the number of elements. So let me then go back in here and see the first test case. So I have 6 elements. So 50, then 6, then 7, 7, 2, and 7. Right, okay. So let's forgot the print statement. Let's have the print statement in here. Right. So now let's run this once again. We will have 6, 50, 7, 7, 2, and 7. So you have see there 56, 7, and 2. So what happened is 56, 7, and 2, and all the duplicates have been removed in here. So this is code is working fine. So as you can see, there were multiple 7s and multiple 2s, which multiple 6 and multiple 7s in here, which are now getting just rid of. And so you have something which is getting removed. So I think this is the end of today and end of today's session. And regarding the last code, I'll have a look at that. And if there are some problems where the last code has happened, so I'll come back to it in the next session. So on that note, I thank you all for listening to me and thank you for your time. And I'll stop sharing my screen and bye for today. And I hope that you have learned a lot about this for loops and also about the arrays. And if you have any questions later on, you can also feel free to drop me an email And okay, so bye and have a nice weekend.